Alright, what is going on YouTube? Your boy PXG Cash Howard once again with another replay from the Worldwide Champions League. This is week 9 for us. We just came off of a win versus Blaze. We're 3-5. This week we're fighting Bobby. As you guys remember, Bobby last season improved greatly from his season 2 performance. He was essentially the decision maker of whether we actually made it to the playoffs or not, and ironically it came down to a situation where we both managed to get into the playoffs. So I'm never one to actually doubt Bobby's ability, no matter what his current standing is. But I will say, when I'm looking at his team now, what I envisioned that was going to be brought in and what is actually here are two different things. For one, I was expecting his Garchomp. Bobby has a Garchomp. Would have been a pain for my team. Bobby also had Virizion, who would have been a thorn to my team. Electivire. He had many different things, so I was not expecting this specific team. Some of these folks I did expect to see. I did expect to see the Claydol, the Primarina, the Steelix to an extent. It does wall some things I have. And the Muck, kind of. The Lantern, not so much. The Alolan Marowak, definitely not. Solely on the grounds that, even though it was his first round pick in the league, he doesn't bring it often. And I also don't have the strongest of fire weakness, which is interesting that he decided to bring it. Ironically, he maybe sensed that I was going to bring Bronzong, so maybe he wanted it to counter Bronzong specifically, as Alolan Marowak's two types beat out Bronzong's. Some of the other things I can kind of see why they're here. You know, Claydol's obviously going to be a spinner, and because it's levitating, won't actually be hampered by any of the spikes if I was to ever bring spikes, but I don't. So I have a game plan. We're going to see if I can actually manage to make it work, but there's two main problems in my way. Problem number one is Steelix, because as much as, you know, it's a Steelix, Steelix has a tremendous amount of physical defense at 200. To the point that my Zygarde, even at +1, cannot kill Steelix. And I started doing calcs, and I think for me to kill let's say for example, Bobby brings a max HP, max physical defense Steelix, I think I needed to get up to a +3 to actually kill it in one hit. At 2, I'd be risking it. So, which is why, like I said, I had assumed the Garchomp may be coming in, because if I can't kill the Steelix, no matter what poke it is, the Steelix can actually retaliate and potentially kill me. But Garchomp, as he is faster than most of my current pokes now, barring Azelf. That's another thing. Speed. Bobby's pokes are essentially the fastest poke Bobby currently has on this team is the Claydol, of all things, at base 75. Mind you, I didn't bring most of my fast pokes either. My Zygarde and my Azelf are faster than Claydol. So I'm like I said, I never want to underestimate Bobby. I don't know what kind of plan he has cooking. There could be something I'm not seeing. Maybe he's gonna make a trick room. Like Claydol may potentially it is a psychic type. It may have access to the trick room. Maybe he's gonna try to use my own speed against me. Kind of like I said, Connor has that same issue with his team. Does he want to run the trick room or not? So let's find out what happened. Week 9, the New York Nido Kings taking on the Philadelphia Scythers. Alright, so Bobby issuing the challenge. I lead off with Serenity the Dancey. I know you guys haven't seen Serenity in so long. I don't know how to use her without her being in her nice pretty dress. So that's the issue. I don't know how to use Cinderella. I should rename her into Cinderella. So we go for the Stealth Rocks. Goes for the knockoff. You do resist the hit. Let's get rid of our Shuka Berry, which essentially would have been useful in dealing with, ironically, as I said, Garchomp, who did not come in. So he goes into Claydol. I can't hit this with Earth Power. But I wasn't expecting him to go into Claydol so quickly either. So he actually predicted me, so well done, Bobby. So I switch out. I go into Keep Talon the Bronzong. In the event he tried to retaliate with his own Earth Power, but he goes for Rapid Spin instead to get rid of the rocks. But the rocks would actually hamper his team slightly. Not as much as one would think, but we recover with the leftovers. He does withdraw. Goes into Marowak. I think this is HP Ice I was carrying. So, resisted. Bobby is actually predicting what I'm doing. I'm actually impressed. As much as he's my opponent, I'm actually impressed. So I go into Gabe, and I'm like, maybe he's going to retaliate and try to Flare Blitz me. He goes for the knockoff, which is interesting because Marowak's stab would kill, I think, my Bronzong. I guess you want to know what item Bronzong was carrying. I go for the Steam Eruption, I get the miss, which is kind of good for me because I don't know what this Lantern is. Could be Volt Absorb or Water Absorb, so I go for the Earth Power, safer of the plays. He goes for the Volt Switch. As you guys saw, my Assault Vest did come off, so this is going to hurt more than it really should. So Lantern is being recalled out. In his place is the Steelix. So I take a risk. I mean, maybe I can kill this in one hit. Now, mind you, not only does it live, I also failed to remember, don't be like me, kids, I failed to remember that Steelix has Sturdy as an ability. So no matter what I would have done, that would not have died in one hit. So I paid for it, and Gabe goes down. So I go into Coach R-Type, because I was able to weaken the Steelix. And remember what I said before, this is one of my main issues. He withdraws, goes into Claydol, which is good for me. Because now I can safely go for a Dragon Dance. So remember I never got to actually say the second criteria. The second criteria is Primarina. So I go for a Crunch. Claydol actually able to live, which kind of surprises me a little bit. He goes with a Psychic. I actually made Zygarde especially defensive this week because Bobby has a lot of especially attacking pokes, ironically. I go for the Crunch again. Crunch specifically being there in the event of Claydol, ironically. So Claydol goes down. It goes into Primarina. Now, because Steelix is already weak, I can now freely use this on Primarina. As Primarina was the second poke, I cannot kill in one hit with 1,000 arrows. And since I don't have to waste it on the Steelix, I'll waste it on Primarina because I know this will kill, barring it's not Focus Sash. And it's not. The Primarina goes down. So now here comes Muck. And here comes another 1,000 arrows. And Muck goes down. So this is currently 5-3. So now comes the Marowak. Here comes another 1,000 arrows. And Marowak goes down. So next comes out the Steelix. And there's another 1,000 arrows. And yeah, Steelix goes down. Out comes Lantern. And here comes another 1,000 arrows. And yeah, So that happened. We do get the win on Bobby. As my friend Ronald would put it, I was bullying, which was not my intention, but Ronald will still say otherwise. That does put us at 4 and 5. GG's to Bobby. As I said, as you guys heard me say, I was actually very impressed with his switches in the beginning. He was able actually to predict what I was going to do and pick the appropriate counter to it. When he swapped out, that let me get the free +1 with Zygarde. As I said before, this current team that he brought was slow. Everything that I had outsped his team. The fastest poke on the team, which was the Claydol, except Zygarde and Aza, who were the two fastest pokes on the field. After Zygarde, the next poke that was faster would be the Claydol, and then at this point everything just kind of kept getting sandwiched in between. So my strategy, ironically, Bobby's team is extremely weak to ground, more so than mine, going by the fact that Thousand Arrows can hit anyone, levitating or not. So the two threats that was going to stop this from happening were Steelix and Primarina, but Steelix taking that hit from Volcanion. So Volcanion's death kind of wasn't in vain, but Volcanion able to actually to weaken Steelix that badly made me know for a fact that my Z move was going to be used on Primarina, because Primarina was not going to be able to live the Z move, and everything else should start falling down one by one, as you saw. But as I said, GG's to Bobby. That puts us at 4 and 5. We're kind of getting up there. There's still a couple more weeks left, so we're kind of hoping to see if at any point we can actually make the playoffs. Because no matter how much we win, it also matters on people who are currently above us. So, as always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it and hope to catch you guys next time. Peace.